meeting of the Nacogdoches Convention and Visitors Bureau Board of Directors. Thank you all for being here this morning. First order of business is consider approval of minutes of the August 17th board meeting. I have a motion.
Move acceptance of the minutes.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion of the minutes? Being done, all in favor of approval of the minutes as submitted, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 3, Jamie, financial update.
Under our assets, we're currently sitting at $525,561.71. Out of that, we still have $33,711.63 in our 14-month CD, $21,777.85 in our 6-month CD. Unrestricted special activities account is $42,222.38. And then our restricted funds, $157,628. And First State Bank and Trust, and $270,121.10 in our Bancorp South Reserve account. Under our fixed assets, we've got $221,439. Other assets, $4,108.92 for total assets of $750,110.50. So total liabilities and net assets down at the bottom, $750,110.50. I didn't have any questions on that. Does anybody else have any questions on our financial statement?
Sure.
When I was reviewing our expenses, the statement of activities account, I didn't see anything that was out of line. Everything looked in accordance with our budget. Does anybody have any questions on the statement of activities?
Well, I don't. Anybody see anything that they want to talk about? Next up on the agenda is item 4, November 2016-2017 board officers. Before we get into that, I need to inform the board members that I had a question about this particular agenda item, and so I consulted with the city manager and city attorney and was told that because of the language that's used on our agenda, we can, in fact, if we choose nominate officers, we can't, however, vote on officers today because there's no language in the agenda that says that we can take action on this item.
Well, why don't we just table it? I move we table the issue.
Yeah, I think that's probably.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to comment if I may, concerning this agenda item. Thank you. I know that your bylaws probably call for annual election of officers. However, I would urge you that the CVB is kind of at a critical juncture right now, and I would urge you to consider keeping your officers' slate the same as it is now until your rebranding is totally successfully relaunched and you work through your revised marketing plan and see it through maybe at least the first quarter if you don't want to do a full year. I think that changing things midstream right now would not be the most prudent thing for the success of the CVB. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Rick?
Second.
Motion?
Yes.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to table the issue of nominating of officers. Is there any discussion beyond that? All in favor of tabling that motion?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. We will talk about that some more later. Item 5, discussion of committee reorganization. This is one of those things that we probably should revisit now. These subcommittees, advertising, marketing, city-county partnerships, SFA, volunteers, chamber, community, these subcommittees were created in the early spring of 2015.
But we didn't have an executive director.
Yeah, well, when we were transitioning, yeah, absolutely. And the sense was that board members needed to be very hands-on in some of these kinds of capacities. Some of these subcommittees may or may not still be useful to us. I think that certainly the advertising marketing committee is vital to our operation, and I think we need a subcommittee dealing with that. I think the SFA liaison is something we want to keep in place. The city-county is a vital relationship, but I think that we need to revisit these committees and see if these are still the structures that we want to use, if this is still the approach that we want to take. And so I am going to ask for some feedback on that. But then I intend to, this is the great thing about bureaucracy. I think I'm going to appoint a committee on committees. You almost have to, don't you? Anybody have any strong feelings about these things?
I think some of the things we wanted to accomplish that came out of the research that we were all presented back then,
Yeah.
some of those things have happened. We wanted to make sure that our relationship with SFA and the Alumni Association was strong, that our relationship with the Convention Center and Exposition Center was improved. And a lot of those things have already happened. I think there's still some things that city-county partners want to accomplish, working with the city to try to get some of our historic sites open on the weekend. Is one of those. But we could maybe even look at specific projects versus committees.
Okay. Yeah, I think the other thing that's changed is our staff.
Right.
And some of this stuff is probably more effective managed by staff than it is by board members. So if it's acceptable to anyone, if it's acceptable to everyone, I would like to ask Kelly Daniel, John McLaren, and Shirley Luna to be our ad hoc committee on committees.
Okay, then I would like to suggest that we consider, I don't know if it would be another committee or if it would fall under advertising and marketing, but I would like to suggest a discussion on product development. Just
You want a committee on?
well, what it seems to me, I've done a lot of research on various CVBs all over the nation. And they seem to run the gamut from the marketing CVB that does nothing but calls around and books conventions. That's like one end of it. All the way up into the CVB that sets a vision as to what where the city's going.
But I think that's really outside the scope of what we're doing here right now. So let's get our committee on committees set up, and I will ask them to visit and come up with some recommendations. And if there's a way to address those things, and if there's a specific kind of discussion you want to have, let's put it on the next agenda. Okay.
So Mark, what is our charge?
Your charge is to review the existing subcommittees and make recommendations on either reworking, eliminating, and I would really like a recommendation on how we can better structure these so each of these committees has a more clear vision of what its mission really is. So if you're going to recommend that we maintain an advertising and marketing committee, let's have some kind of a mission statement so we know what we can expect of it. Okay?
Mark, one other thing too, kind of expanding on this. At times, some of these committees can be very useful and very important, and at other times, essentially non-existent.
Yeah.
So as that committee reviews this, they kind of need to keep that in mind.
Yeah, and our bylaws certainly allow for the appointment of ad hoc committees at any point. And so if there's an issue that arises where we feel we need a small group of people to work with an outside entity, then we'll certainly do that. Okay? Shirley, you okay with being on the committee on committees?
I'm fine with that, thank you.
Good deal. All right, anything else on that? Okay. Next item says logo update. Well, that's me, and my update is that the logo is part of the big marketing plan and rebranding plan. We have been testing some graphics. We have a marketing plan that is currently being revised per City Council recommendation. I think that there's a lot of good things in it. Chris Hancock is next to be here. Chris has been doing some testing of some graphics and things, but at this point, and I think we're moving in the right direction. And as soon as we feel comfortable that we have a plan, an overall branding plan in place, then we will start sharing it with our stakeholders, our community partners, and move from there. So that's the update on that. Okay. Item 7. Carl, this is you. Discuss approval of Main Street Christmas lights. Somebody asking for permission.
Yes, sir. Amy McCaffrey from the Main Street group contacted us and sent us some information requests. They're trying to put up Christmas lights throughout the town, but what they're trying to do is go ahead and put them up and leave them up and then maintain them through the years that they can be used all year round for special events, or we have groups coming in, or whenever it's appropriate for those lights to be used. So she sent us some information. We have 2 of the Main Street Board here with us for any additional information you want. They're trying to raise, I believe, $50,000. They sent us a request to see if we would be interested in putting in $5,000. Of course, the only way that could be done is if the board decided that they did want to do that, it would have to come out of our special events account, which right now we have $42,000 in that, and that would have to be the funding mechanism for this. So, if I'd like to have any discussion or ask any further questions, I'll try to answer what I can.
But it sounds like, Jim, that the lighting would be more of a permanent issue for downtown than just a Christmas type thing. That sounds better to me than if we were just funding a Christmas season event, because we had sort of determined earlier that on events we had to go in a different direction, but something like this sounds more palatable.
You want to make a motion so we can have some discussion on this?
Yeah, I'll move that we contribute the 5,000 sponsorship.
Okay, motion second. Any discussion?
Is this a reoccurring cost?
No, it's a one-time request.
So I noticed in Amy's letter that there are folks who may be here to speak to this.
We just want to say that we believe the Christmas lights really contribute to the whole town, and that we're not going to be able to do it alone. It's $50,000 is a pretty big task for us to raise, and we've been doing it by kind of a Christmas in July campaign was our first kickoff. And that campaign is really hoping to fund all of our events throughout the year, and this year our focus is the Christmas lights. And like it was mentioned, these lights are not just going to be for Christmas. They're going to be up all year long in trees and things. And we've had different people come out and tell us, the best way to wrap the lights where we don't damage the trees and really make it the most beneficial for Main Street. I know personally, growing up here, downtown and Christmas was always my favorite time to come downtown. And it always inspired me to come back downtown. And I think having those Christmas lights here will inspire visitors to not only want to come here at Christmas, but come back all year round. And that we really do have the potential to be a city like Marshall, or one of those towns that has these great Christmas light spectaculars. But it's a community effort, we need help.
I'm sorry, you and I have not had a chance to meet. You are...
Oh, I'm Ryan Russell, I'm the Main Street Board President.
Thank you.
Thank you.
you off there.
All right, well, if this is something, I guess, our mission is to attract overnight visitors and positively affect the economy of Nacogdoches and promote it as a historic site. So when we look at something like this, that's the consideration we should look at. Now, there's a town over in Louisiana that seems to do a good job with their Christmas lights, and I know it didn't happen overnight, and it took some time. Is this something, I guess, we need to look at if we feel this is a step towards a direction such as that, or a Marshall? And then it's an investment in the future. Is it going to help us work towards that goal of our mission statement? I think I guess really the question that we need to ask each of ourselves.
I think it does, but it also would be with the unrestricted funds. So those are funds that we raise through selling bricks and things like that, that it would not be funded from our occupancy tax funds.
Right, and to recap, in years past, we dealt very closely with the Christmas lights as a CVB, and we stepped away from that last year. Completely, I think. And,
We used to even coordinate the putting up of the lights
Yeah, I think our staff used to get up and point around.
and get businesses to send teams to help.
This might be a help to instead of just leaving that venture completely, maybe help in the future.
And the point of this is it's year-long, correct? Year-round.
It can be used for other events as
So
well.
wine swirl and different times we have things going on downtown.
Is there any way this could ever detract from our downtown?
If they weren't kept in good repair, I think.
Yeah, that was my question, is what's the plan to sustain this?
We have contracted with a local company, and they are, part of their bid that they bid the lights is the installation and the maintenance throughout the year.
Do you know what
That's
the
all
annual
included in the
cost of maintaining this system would be?
I'm actually going to turn that over to Ruby Lee, because she probably going to know a little more about that.
But the annual numbers moving forward for next year, it will not be anything near the 50,000. I don't have the exact number, I'm sorry. But that is something that can be found out and gotten to y'all promptly. But no, it will, since the company that we're using is local, they've agreed to keep an eye. And so if a strand is out, a bulb is out, whatever the need may be, the benefit of having somebody local can get that handled immediately. But it definitely, I don't think that it will detract in any way, especially if you have somebody like that that can make sure that that's, it's not that Amy's going to have to be walking around, checking Christmas lights. It's already been handled. So, and moving forward in these next several years, I mean, the 50,000 includes the cost of the lights and includes the labor and that sort of thing. So we will not be looking at anything near. It's just this initial upfront cost.
The way we've been doing it until now with Christmas only, we've been contracting and the lights don't belong to the city.
These lights they'll belong to the
These
city.
will, but we
Yes.
haven't in the past, correct?
Yes, right, they've not in the past. And so these lights will belong to the city. And then, next year, or at the end of Christmas this year, we'll take down what's not going to be left up, like the lights in the trees, and a few other lights will be left. And then like the garland that wraps around the post and, the net lights and things like that, those will be put away. So, yes, they will belong to the city, or they do.
Okay. So, I'm sorry to be so ignorant about this. How many lights will be utilized for these special events? If you're going to pack up the net lights and stuff, how much lighting, for instance, if we have an event, if there's an event like Katie said, the wine swirl, how many lights are we looking at? I mean, are we going to have lights in the trees?
Strands
down
or?
there?
No, we'll have the lights in the trees. We'll change up some of the posts. But I mean, a good amount, not just a little
But it's not
splash
going to be
here
like
and there.
Christmas every day?
No,
Okay.
no, because we do want to keep that special as well. Because I think those were some concerns of folks was, well, now it's not going to be special anymore. No, it'll be special year round, and it will be something wonderful to drive through and look at, so.
our goal really in keeping them up all year is one, it just creates more ambiance downtown. And I think, people like coming and strolling around downtown at night, and especially since we are with the hotel reopening and more restaurants coming, I know everyone's goal is to get a little more nighttime activity downtown. So not only does it create ambiance, but also literally sheds a little more light on the streets and helps with safety concerns and, just lighting up the streets.
And they're your LED lights, they're not the Walmart specials. So
So they're
durable.
energy efficient as
Yes,
well.
energy efficient, durable.
Yeah.
Thank you. Our special activities fund is a lot lower than it was in times past. I know that our budget says that we anticipate increased revenues from product sales here at the Visitor Center, which would feed that particular fund. I also think we need to be careful about bleeding it dry. We're at 42,000 right now. This is a one-time request? Okay. Well, we have a motion and a second to approve this request and contribute $5,000 to this project. Is there anybody else who wants to say anything?
Call for the question.
All in favor of funding this particular request in the amount of $5,000, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Committee reports. Shirley, you want to?
We have parents.
I mean, I know you're kind of a double dipping at this point.
Yes, I am, a little bit. As far as SFA work is going on, we have Parents' Day this weekend. Joanne and I'll be getting together at some point to start talking about other upcoming events. Then I've also been working with Amy. One thing that came up during a recent meeting at SFA with some of our Board of Regents and some city officials was that there is not a good way for businesses to keep track of Showcase Saturday and Homecoming Weekend and Parents' Day, just for their staffing purposes and just general awareness as well. And so I've been working with Amy on a way to send out those key dates. And we may, the way we've talked about it right now is to add that information to the e-newsletter that she sends out to local businesses, and then make the businesses aware that that's where they can find that information, and maybe to place it in that newsletter in a way where it'll be seen quickly and easily. And so that's one thing that we've been, Amy and I've been working on to try to get that information out there to help businesses plan for those events.
Without knowing all of the particulars, the sense that I get is that our communication with SFA has pretty improved over the last year or so. That's a very good thing.
Joanne's been great to work with.
Good deal. Rick, anything to add?
Actually, all of our major projects are on hold for the time being, so no report.
Okay. Katie, you got anything?
Okay, the chamber is hosting an live after 5 this Thursday, right, September 22nd at Urgent Dock. And it is tailgate themed, and I think you'll get a chance to meet some of the SFA coaches there, is that correct? And leadership Nacogdoches class is currently underway, and also the Total Resource Campaign is underway. So if you're interested in working with the chamber to host one of their events, and live after 5 or sponsor any of the things that they do annually, now's the time to get on the calendar because they fill up quickly.
Which one is Urgent Dock?
Urgent Dock is the
one that causes, right?
Close to Fuzzies, Wingstop.
It's like happy hour time. It's 5:30 to usually around 7.
John, you really?
No, good.
Good. Next item is the Executive Director's Report. Carl?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Okay, as everyone's aware, we presented our marketing plan last night to the City Council. It was not passed. They had some good suggestions on what they would like to see us start working on with the marketing plan. They felt it probably needed to be a little more concise, a little more smaller than it was. They'd like to have a little more input from the board, as well as make sure that the marketing committee was involved in it. I believe Councilman Keller said he would like to also be involved and put in some ideas and some suggestions as well. So we are going to revamp, hit the floor running, and start looking at a very quick date on getting this started. And I will let the board know that. Hopefully in the next day or two, we can start setting up meetings and so forth. And I will contact everyone, make sure that the members of the board have the information as we move forward. We urge suggestions from you and comments so that we can make sure that we meet the what the City Council is looking for, and look forward to putting out a plan that's going to be something that everyone's going to be proud of.
It's the first week of November that we need to have this.
That's correct. Well, we need to have it to the board at our next board meeting, which I believe is October 19th and 20th. So for a final.
To the City Council.
And then the City Council, it has to be at the first meeting in November. Moving on, I'd like to congratulate Joanna Temple, who's our sales director. She has been working very closely with SFA Alumni Association, and has been able to actually secure use of some of the SFA transportation for a couple of our different meetings that fall within the guidelines, what they feel they can use them for. That's a great help to us. And also that we'll be able to use the meeting facilities this year, at least at the SFA, for the daytime Pollwood Queens conferences coming in January. So we're very excited about that. It was a lot of discussions as to how that would be able to be done, and everything seemed to fall into place. So we're very excited to have the opportunity to show off our local statewide university, and we're excited about that. You have the attachments on sales and marketing reports that if you have any questions you can ask, but I'll hit some of the highlights for you. At this point, we have 13 definite meetings on the books, totaling about 1,739 room nights. Our website had 5,554 unique visits in August, and actually year-to-date we're up 14.2% as far as unique visits. Our Facebook and social meeting information, where the click-through rates are continuing to rank above the industry standard for our ad campaigns and overall visits to our Facebook. The visitors information desk received 28 requests for additional information from ads that we had in August. And as far as our walk-ins into the visitor center for August, we had 934 walk-ins with an average so far this year of 1,025 every month. And that shares my report.
Thank you. I want to take this opportunity to congratulate the staff. The things that I see on here that are going on are pretty tangible products of the hard work that's been going on. And I know that there are good things happening down here every day, and I really appreciate it. You're doing good stuff. So thank you for it. The connection with SFA is big. Those lines of communication have gotten to be great in the past, and I think having that is going to do wonders for this town. Anybody have any questions as to the attachments? Anything for Carl? Okay. The next item on the agenda, item 9, is an executive session. The board is to deliberate regarding personnel under local government code, section 551.074, executive director evaluation. At this time, the board members, let's go upstairs into the boardroom upstairs for this. Yeah, 9:59. And we are back in open session. On the agenda, it says consider action. We need a motion to, it says consider action for closed session.
I think if we don't want to take any action, then we don't have to have.
Or council members have any?
You can say that.
We don't need a motion. We're not going to take any action on our closed session. Which means that the only thing left on our agenda is to designate the time, date, and location of our next meeting. It will be 8:30 a.m. on Wednesday, October 19th, right here at the Charles Rice Visitor Center. And with that, we are adjourned. Thank you all very much.